Are we live? It seems we are live. This lesson, this recording is for October 19th. This is the lesson we had no sound on, so October 19th is between October 12th and October 26th. We are continuing exactly where October 12th lecture ended, and few words about these three lectures. So October 12th we started with backend setup, and we are gonna finish it right now. And on October 26th we talked about Docker and how we can use Docker, especially in relation to backend. So without further ado, this is where we finished. We had a backend running on the server. We ran it as java-jar, hero as backend.jar, and we ran it with GitLab runner user. Now, what was the problem with this approach is once we terminated, the server is down. I mean, the application is down. Now I begin it. I start it. Wait a little bit. It's up and running, and the service is back and running. I shut it down. The service is down. That's not ideal. Therefore, we will continue by making it work. I think, so we had this class machine guide. We are going to configure it as a system process. So we were testing our jar file right now, and now I am going to go to this system folder in my Ubuntu, and I'm gonna create this file. I must be as Ubuntu. So users, you can change sudo su GitLab runner, and then with exit I'm back here. If I exit once again, then I am out of the machine, and that's sort of not where I want it to be. So home, etc, system, the system, okay. And I just created the file, right? Or I didn't, let's see. Okay, created the file. Touch just creates files, and sudo nano is one of the editors. Sudo nano hero is .service. Empty file. These are the contents we would like to add. So let us add them. Now, this would fail immediately. Well, let's look at this. Oh, okay. Undo. Let's talk about this file. So, unit description, when it's run after, now adding it as a Linux process means that it would restart itself after a system restart, which is nice. It's gonna run under GitLab runner user. That means we will have to add some extra configuration for our deployment to work. Home directory, so this is the directory where the jar file must exist. API deployment. And this is how we run the file. So java-jar, except this java must be absolute. And our jar name is heroes backend, I think. Okay, I control say I exit. Yes, I save. And now let's reload configuration and then enable the heroes. So that's enable heroes is the name. And I am going to restart the service. I can see status like that. Oh, wait a bit. So I can see that it started on port 8080. And here it is. It's working. So we have heroes. I think heroes are working. Okay, excellent. We want to make I think I just made a one push, so I'm gonna refresh that. What? Refresh. We want to allow GitLab runner to restart our backend. And for that, we want to modify sudo vsudo and add here a following line and then save. So that's means GitLab runner gets to run this service named heroes with anything. And no password means no, doesn't need a password. Well, that was it for backend. Let's take a little break. That was a very short break. Let's continue with front end. For front end, we need two things. We need to install Node. Now, Node is necessary. Oh, just conveniently, I have a component diagram open. So Node will be used by our GitLab runner to build the project. Remember, we installed JDK and we had a Gradle wrapper for our project to. And we had a wrapper for our project to work on the backend. So here we need Node. I had it already pre-installed, so for me it's probably everything's gonna be super short and quick. I use Shift Insert to paste on the external onto the external server. Well, Mac, I don't know, Mac command. And then I installed the node, as it says here. For me it's already installed, so my life is extremely easy. Okay, node has been installed. Now we need Nginx. Nginx is a web server. So a web server is something that serves static files. Let's look at our front end. So GitLab CI file here, and it will run npm install. The script here says that what it will run: npm install and npm run build. Now these commands are, this build command is configured in the package JSON, so it runs ng build ---- prod. So that would, if I were there to run that, it would create me a dist folder here. The prod stands for production, and that means that the code is minified, the code is uglified. Let's have a look. Well, this is main, this is where our application is. As you can see here, the functions, one letter word arguments, and etc. No white space, because white space is still space. And with front end, when we want to serve it, we want to have as minimal of a footprint as possible. Our users might be on some cellular internet somewhere in the wood, in the forest. It depends on our application. If you can use Wi-Fi, what's this? G5 network, then it's not a problem, but that's not everywhere. Okay, So that was the prod build, so that's what we want to do first. And on the other side we want to have the Nginx. Let's install Nginx. And let's see, okay, I have installed Nginx, that was fast. Who said that the install had to be complicated? And I am clicking on this page and it says to me not found, which is interesting. That's not what you were supposed to see. So let's see what went wrong for me. I was removing Nginx earlier. So I was removing Nginx earlier because I am re-recording and I had it already installed. Aha. Okay, so what we have here is we have my old configuration here. So this, what you should have once you install it first time, you should have, instead of heroes here, a default. But I can recreate the same state that you have by going to sites available and removing heroes. Sudo remove heroes, and then I want to copy default to heroes. So that will be a default file. Of course, with sudo. That's a default file, and I want to restart sudo service Nginx. So my heroes, let's go to sites enabled, sites enabled ls-la heroes. So this heroes is redirecting to sites available heroes. So you would have default redirecting to default. I have heroes redirecting to heroes as heroes. You just saw me copy from default. This is the default configuration. So let's look at that configuration. Sites available. You soon will know this by heart. Well, I guess the first thing that you could do, let's look at our guide, is to replace the config with our own. So we have heroes, we copied the heroes, and then we are creating a symlink. So sudo ls-l. So if I go to sites enabled, oh no, I'm using tab to go places, so I'm gonna remove sudo remove heroes, and let's add it together. So sudo ln-s, adding heroes, done. Now if I were to look at these heroes, that will redirects me to sites available. That's how symlinks work. About this configuration, there are a lot of comments. You should read what it says, so pause the video and read. I will tell you just two things. First, port 80 is the default HTTP port. So HTTP is here, so that's not secure. And HTTPS, which is a secure port, is on 443. That was decided some time ago before us. And we can see that this Nginx doesn't have that much code. It has here a location where it's serving files from, or where it's serving them to. So root So it's opening on the root and it is serving content from this location. Let's go to that location. So let's say there and go there. And this where we will find so no. Let's update that file a little bit. Let's say welcome to Nginx. Yeah. What else would you write other than yeah? And you see it has updated. So what we want to have, we want to update that URL to link to our index.html. Let me first tell you more about why we are using why var.www is important, because this folder is accessible for Nginx by default, also accessible to Apache, etc. It is not our home, our GitLab runner contents are not accessible here, so we want to create a symlink. Okay, that's been a long build up to the front end, and now I'm looking here that while talking all this story, instead we are gonna make backend into a proxy. So remember all what we said. Let's quickly do this backend change. So that's Nginx sites available or enabled, doesn't matter, and sudo nano heroes, and we are adding a thing known as a reverse proxy. So let me delete a little bit here. Reverse proxy is a proxy. So proxy is something that does something for you. Reverse proxy means here that it is on the server side. That's why it's a reverse proxy. So, and in our case, the location of API of Nginx will be serving localhost 8000 instead of 8000. It should be 8080 because our backend application is running on port 8080. So after this change, we want to achieve this sort of configuration. Currently it doesn't work. I am saving it. Sudo service nginx restart. Refresh, working. Refresh, still working. Okay, that was backend proxy. Sorry for being here and there. Our front end. In the backend, we installed the CI/CD. Now we must do the same for front end. Let's go to production, GitLab runner. As our server has already it installed, we just need to configure it. So we need to know the tokens. So for me, that's tokens. Front is my repository of interest now. I go to settings, CI/CD. Here you must know that it is the owner of the repository, so this person here who can do that. I have the runner already set up. I'm gonna remove it. Let's set it up together. Let's see what happens. Okay. So these two links are necessary, and then registering a runner. We go to Linux. Of course, we have GitLab runner installed as a Linux service. We did that in the previous lesson. Okay, registering a runner, the maintainer, copy, coordinator, sorry, token, yes, description, not important, tag, I am using heroes tag everywhere. Now this tag, if you are using front end, this tag needs to match this tag, otherwise it will not find it. So these tags should match. I picked heroes, I picked the way to go with tags. So let's say you have a big build server, you would have different runners configured for different builds. And we are using shell that is set up. Let us do a build. So we are in CI/CD. On the front end, we are running the pipeline. Main, for me, main is the branch where I have the CI/CD. So it is building. We now need to do, where's that picture? I like, my computer really likes the streaming programs. We need to have a link. If our front-end build works, we should have our front-end somewhere on the server, and then we just need to create this link and check that everything works, and then we are done. Okay, so front end is building. Well, we can take a little break. Yeah, the backend we configured without a proxy, so it can be accessed without a port. Modified some Nginx. Okay, this front-end build should make its way where? We install, we create the build, which will create this dist folder on the server somewhere, and then it's gonna create a new folder. It's gonna remove the contents of the old folder, and it's gonna copy the contents of dist inside that front deployment folder. Okay, so that is supposed to be at home, GitLab runner, and let's see what's here. Okay, we have API deployment, but the front deployment hasn't arrived yet. Actually, deploy should be relatively quick, so if I keep refreshing, I see front deployment. So here it is important that we have index.html is here. So this is here. Otherwise, it doesn't know how to serve the front end. As you saw, the Nginx itself was serving this HTML file. Okay, we need to show the front end. Now let's go to, well, the idea is following. This folder here is invisible to Nginx, and I don't want to have complex configuration. Instead, I am going to go to var www, and we are going to create here a symlink. So I'm going to remove it. We are going to create here a symlink, and that way it can access it without any problems. So this command here adds us a symlink. Something went wrong. Create a symlink to Okay, sudo, okay, it begins here. Oh, your guide I hope will be much better, but my guide is just, it, you know, gets the job done. So we have now, if I go into front deployment, it is the content of different directory projected here. I go back to, now we need to tell Nginx to look here for our front end. That means, so etc. Nginx sites available on sudo nano heroes. You have to use sudo here, and you see here there is this root. So here, instead of that HTML, we want to use front deployment. Yes. Sudo service nginx restart. So the changes will take effect. And let's look at our front end. So this page should change. Let's restart, and it has changed. Let's click around to see that it works. Oh, it's not the fastest thing, but it works. Let's do some update. Okay, it's saved. Oh, I don't know, I'm a big fan of putting 2 everywhere. I'm gonna delete Hulk. I deleted Hulk. Now there is a little problem here. I am clicking refresh, let me click it here, and it breaks. What's going on? I go back, wait. Detail doesn't work. I go back to the home page, it works. I refresh, it doesn't work. That is expected with our current configuration. Let's see what's going on, and let's look at the Apache conf. So sudo nano heroes again. The thing is that Apache is expecting this dashboard file to exist on the server when you refresh it, but it's not there. In fact, our front end has only one HTML file, and that's index. That's the beauty of single page applications. To fix that, we are gonna create a rule. It's gonna look like this. So I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna explain it while I'm copying. So I'm gonna delete the old location rule, and so we are showing some exceptional formatting, so everyone will understand. Okay, so here we are telling that if the file name is not there, then just use index.html. And having that rule, if I am now restart Nginx again, having that rule enables me to have, to have the pages working. And that's sort of the last thing we needed to do. We just need to think a bit forward, like we are on IP and it says it's not secure. If you want to add HTTPS, the HTTPS is usually added on a domain. Domains can be acquired, are usually acquired by money. However, you can get them for free from a page like Freenom or some other page. These are unfortunately a bit slow, but you can here look for something sort of a what is the domain, and then later using a service like Amazon Route 53 or something, different, you can add it to a World Wide Web, so they know that this domain would match the following IP, and after you have domain, it will be still HTTP. You can use Let's Encrypt